All right.
Yes.
Nothing fancy last night about Monday Night Football. And last night, I said this all day yesterday, you earn your football card, like your PGA Tour card, for another 3 years if you watched all of last night's game, because there was nothing exciting about it unless you had money on it. But as a football fan, there was no real reason to watch it. And it was a struggle, especially early on when the Dolphins were up 14-0. The Steelers seemed lifeless. Coming out of their bye week, they seemed lifeless. They finally got it together. They won the game 27-14. And Big Cat, we were talking about this on the little 2-minute stub that we do before the radio show rejoins at the top of the second hour of the program. The Steelers turned the game around in one fell swoop. 3rd and 20 from the Miami 45 with 17 seconds left in the first half, down 14-3. The Steelers hit a touchdown pass, a catch and a run by rookie Deontay Johnson, but it was fueled by the decision of the Dolphins to send pretty much everyone on 3rd and 20 with 17 seconds left in the first half. And it blew up. My God, if you're watching on TV, there is nothing but green grass for Deontay Johnson. He makes a nice move down near the 10-yard line to get into the end zone, but there is nothing in the middle of the field. He could have run 90 yards with this thing.
Mind-numbingly stupid. The only thing you could say in defense of the Dolphins here is that maybe they are truly trying to tank so badly that they sent everyone on a blitz. Because if you're trying to tank and you're trying to lose, you don't want guys to stop trying for you. You don't want to lose the locker room, so to speak. And I thought the Dolphins showed a lot of fight in the first half. So how do you basically lose? Well, not showing that you're trying to lose. You call up a blitz on 3rd and 20 with 23 seconds left and let the Steelers score a touchdown. Mike, I actually thought the Dolphins for a little bit there, it looked like they could hang in this game, maybe even win this game. And if you do the math, this was the game that they should have tried to win because they have the Steelers' first-round pick, and it would have actually helped their draft status by winning this one and then losing to the Bengals, but they weren't able to hang on. And I think the Dolphins, weirdly enough, they still have the Jets twice, and they have that Bengals game. I don't think the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL. I know they're actively trying to lose. I know we have the Ravens drubbing from week 1 stuck in our brains forever. But I don't think the Dolphins, I think they Ryan Fitzpatrick does enough. And he has that Fitz magic thing. He had it going on in the first half where he can make plays with pretty much anyone. And I think the Bengals are the worst team in the NFL, and I actually think the Dolphins will win that game and maybe not get the first pick, even though that's what they're trying to go for. They're actively trying to tank.
Yeah, I think the moment that Brian Flores went back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, that was the indication from him that he's not actively involved in this effort to sink to the bottom of the standings, or maybe he just realizes it doesn't matter. So I'll create the impression I'm not in on the tank, even though the end result is they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, if not the very worst. I kind of like that logic of, hey, you know what? We're trying to win, so let's be so overly aggressive it helps us lose, which is exactly what they did, and that's exactly how Brian Flores explained it after the game. Let's listen to what Flores had to say as to that specific question of why he called for a blitz on 3rd and 20 with 17 seconds left in the half.
I want to be aggressive. I mean, we can second-guess a lot of calls, and I'm not going to second-guess that one. I think we'd had success with the call, and, they made a play.
Yeah, look, we want to be aggressive. We hear it all the time. Want to be aggressive, not going to second-guess it. Well, if you're not going to second-guess it, you're not going to learn anything from it, right? Hey, you're going to do it again? So you're going to let your opponents know, hey, we get them in 3rd and 20, they're going to call an all-out blitz because they like to be aggressive. I just think that there's an important aspect of being an NFL head coach, Big Cat, where you have to be able to tell your story, to defend yourself in those press conference settings. And it has to be something that is plausible, but you don't want to go in there and say, I screwed up. I mean, there's a sweet spot. And I think Brian Flores was not in it, obviously, last night when he came off as stubborn. I mean, these guys want to double down and triple down, and we're going to be talking more about that later in the show as it relates to your guy, Matt Nagy, the coach of the Bears. There's a certain point where you have to acknowledge that it didn't work. I mean, we're being aggressive, and I don't have any second guessing, but it didn't work. So you have to have some second guessing because your aggressive call failed.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is that fine balance where you can't get in front of the media and just say, you know what, I screwed up and I don't know what I'm doing up here. That's kind of the Freddie Kitchens approach when he says I have things I need to learn. And you don't want to be the Matt Nagy who's so stubborn to a fault and doubles and triples down on a really stupid statement Monday morning. So you got to find that middle ground, and Brian Flores didn't really kind of toe that line there. I think more than anything for watching Week 8 and everything that happened, Joe Flacco was the best, how to give a press conference. Brian Flores should basically sit in front of everyone and say, listen, we're a bad football team. We haven't won a game. Everyone thinks we're a joke. We're going to pick our spots to be overly aggressive because we have nothing to lose. We've already lost everything. We're a really bad football team. So when you are a team like this, when you have a 2-win team, a 1-win team, a 0-win team like the Dolphins, you really do have nothing to lose. It's similar to the Redskins game when they go for 2 at the end of the game to try to win that game right then and there. I have no problem with it because if you explain it that way and you say, we are really, really bad and it's not like we're fighting for a playoff spot here. We just want to try to win a game, and we are going to throw different things at the wall here and hope something sticks. I think that actually plays for the media, and I would respect that if Brian Flores said something like that. Look, we're trying new things, and we're trying things that might work because right now nothing is working and we can't get a win.
And it's funny, as you explain that, it occurs to me, over the past 5 or 6 years, as coaches have gotten more aggressive in going for 2 and going for it on 4th down, and they're no longer ripped for it when they go for it on 4th down and they fail. I mean, they are sometimes, but not like it used to be where it was unthinkable to go for it on 4th and shorten your own territory. Now there's analytics that back it up. At the same time, I feel like these desperate teams, these teams that have nothing to play for, aren't as over-the-top aggressive as they used to be with fake punts and fake field goals and just crazy stuff because who cares? We're just trying to win a game, and that is the best explanation. We're just trying to win a game. We picked a spot to be overly aggressive, and we thought we would get this quarterback who was deer in the headlights for most of the first half. We thought we would rattle him. We thought he wouldn't make a throw. And you know what? Give the kid credit. He made a throw. But we're desperate, and we did something aggressive, and that's what you do when you're 0-6. That's a much better explanation than, we were trying to be aggressive, and it kind of worked. No, it didn't, and we do it again. We have no second thoughts. We're not going to learn from our mistakes. I mean, that part of it is just ludicrous to me, and it just shows you that no matter how good of a coordinator or an assistant coach you are, when you step into the job of head coach, your world changes dramatically. And I don't know that it's anything you can even learn. You either are wired to thrive in that setting or you aren't. Now, maybe Brian Flores will improve on the fly, but it's just disappointing to see these young coaches who just don't have the instincts to understand how you need to convey your thoughts and find that balance and just be candid. I mean, it's just coach speak and it's gobbledygook and it's defensive, and it really isn't something that resonates and connects with fans. That's ultimately what it needs to be. Whatever you say, if you just say it in a way that gets the fans on your side, you've won the battle.
Yeah, honesty goes a really long way when it comes to coaches trying to explain their decision-making because coaches have an impossible job. We are all going to second-guess everything they do. That's what fans do. That's what people sitting on the couch. Everyone thinks they can be smarter than the coach. And guess what? We're not smarter than the coach. But when they are stubborn in their responses and maybe really dig in and don't say, hey, look, I make mistakes too. I screw some things up. I want to try to win a game. I want to be aggressive. I want to try new things. Just being honest about it would go a long way. And this is all just foreshadowing for Matt Nagy and the disaster that's going on right now in Chicago. But I think it holds true for basically any coach who isn't established, who doesn't have that established media relationship with the fans where fans can trust whatever they do. Because this is really what it comes down to, Mike. When you're a new coach in the NFL, you will always have the benefit, or you will never have the benefit of the doubt. People will always assume that you're not qualified for the job until you prove it, until you start winning and winning fast. So when it comes to these new coaches, when it comes to Brian Flores or Freddie Kitchens or even Matt Nagy, who won Coach of the Year last year, he still doesn't have enough goodwill built up for people to just blindly say, whatever he does, I trust. This guy knows what he's doing. There are very few coaches in the NFL who have that type of goodwill with the media and the fan base. So watching a coach come into that situation and try to navigate that relationship is always fascinating, because it's a very hard one to build up that trust and have everyone say, you know what, whatever this coach does, I know they're trying to win. I know they're trying to put the team in a good spot. Because right now, I can't tell you if that's true for those three guys I just mentioned, Brian Flores, Freddie Kitchens, and Matt Nagy.
And then there's Mike Tomlin, who won a Super Bowl in his second year as coach of the Steelers and has lifetime job security, or at least it feels like it. He's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. And now his team is at 3-4. You look back to that Ravens game from a few weeks ago. If they pull that one out, they're 4-3, and the Ravens are 4-3. But, you know, I've tried to boil this down and keep it very simple. For the Steelers, the task comes down to this, Big Cat. They have the Bengals again. They've already beaten them once. They've got the Browns twice. If they win those 3 games, and they are within a game of the Ravens going into Week 17, that game is the AFC North Championship, because the Ravens have a separate divisional loss to the Browns. So they would split the season series if the Steelers beat the Ravens. The next tiebreaker is division record, and the Steelers would prevail on that because they'd be 5-1 in the division, and the Ravens would be 4-2. It's that simple. Beat the Bengals, beat the Browns twice, be within a game of the Ravens going into Week 17, and Week 17 is for all the marbles. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple, and it's amazing, given how poorly the Steelers started, to have them in position where we can have this conversation halfway through the season.
And how about maybe putting in Duck Hodges? Because Mason Rudolph did not look like he was, I mean, he cleaned up at the end of the game, but to start the game, not ready for prime time. Some really bad throws, and, you know, maybe because the bye week, people forget how good Duck Hodges looked against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. But that, what you just described and the schedule that the Steelers have ahead of them, they have it all there. Like, they control their own destiny right now. They can basically, the path is there, but there's no margin for error. And you can't have a bad game from Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph has the game he had last night against a competent team with a real, you know, defense and offense. They don't win that game. So I think that they dodged one last night with some subpar quarterback play. And can they continue to do that? Because they just have one slip-up. If you have one slip-up against the Browns, if you have one slip-up against these teams that you think you should beat, then it's over for the Steelers this year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.